Where we left off is finding the tires. So now that we've found the tires, we're going to want to put the wheels together. I'm assuming that since this was a bike that was all together and functioning previously, that it's all going to fit. So tires, and then the wheels. So there's no adjustments. I'm not aligning the frame or anything. But mounting tires, I find it's easier, rather than using a table like this, is to use a garbage can. So I've got one. Used my cans for recycling. So we roll this guy out here, and now I have a workbench. There's nothing really in here, so it doesn't stink or anything. But now I've got a stable platform that I can use to mount tires. Okay, so these are lightning dart nylon Carlisle tire rubber Carlisle PA. So these are American made tires. So pretty cool. Not made in America anymore. And you can't really see it, I'm sure, on the video, but there's a little Indian head on here. So that's what we got for rubber. I'm assuming the tubes are good in there. Shouldn't have pulled that out. We're going to put it right back in. All right. So there's no direction on these tires, no right or left, from what I can tell. So the way I do it is stem for the tube in the hole, and one bead on the rim all the way around. So once that first one is in, now I can align it the way I want. Now, if you really want to get fancy, you can align the stem of the tube with the tire markings, but I don't really care on this build. And then I'll start at the stem, making sure it's absolutely lined up, not leaning one way or another. And then working away from the stem towards myself, and then away from myself to get that to go right on just like that. So now that it's on there, double check that it's all lined up. We can pump it up. So I'm going to grab the pump. It's just on the other side of my bikes here. And I'm going to pump it up before I set it horizontal, because it wants to, be round. But if I go like that, it's not going to be in the round position. So I'm going to go get the pump. So the idea here is to get enough air in here that the tire and the bead and the tube are not going to reposition themselves. So I'm pinching behind the tire and behind the tube where the stem comes in, so it stays where I want it. And then repositioning the tire on the rim, giving a little air. Making sure it's seating correctly, and that that's right in the middle. Okay, so I can see the bead is as round as it's going to be on both sides. It's a little not in the right position over here. So I give it a little push, it comes back out, and then the air pressure is going to get it to seat. So now I can put it on the ground. It's about 20 pounds. And the bead again right here is not quite. And on new tires, I might put a little water, a little bit of soap, so that it'll pop into the correct position. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to pump up a little bit more air and let it sit, and then it should come into position by itself, but we'll see. That's about 30 pounds. And we can bounce it, see if that gets it to pop into position. All right, that tube is in there very nicely. Not much of a wrinkle right there. A little bit of old rubber we can take off. Not too worried about it. And the bead is in good shape. So, stem and rim. This one has a little air in the tube, so let a little air out. Nice. Straighten out the stem. I'm going to show you guys what these are. Tire irons for really tight fits. You can use those. It's not needed today. So again, starting at the stem for the final bead. And then working away. And all I've got is the tire and not the tube. So sometimes the tube will stick out and pinch between the rim, and then you put a hole in the tube before you even get a chance to ride it. So a little bit of old rubber there, and we're in. And it looks good all the way around. About 15 pounds. Should be enough that when I put it on the ground horizontally. See, now my stem's not quite straight. Yeah, the bead's not going to move. All right, I'm a perfectionist, so use a little something there to push on the valve stem, let the air back out, and I'm going to wiggle it around so that stem is absolutely straight. It's a big deal because if you run a tire with not enough air in the tube, then that stem will start moving because the tire in the tube on the rim with not enough air in it will migrate. And once that stem gets off angle to a point where it's pinched inside the rim, then it will wear right where the stem is attached to the tube and create a hole, and you can't repair that. So, FYI, make sure your stems are straight all the time. If they're not, let the air out. And there we go. Move the tire. I'm wiggling it so it's wiggling all the way around. Just enough. There we go. For that stem to be perfectly straight in there so there's no chance it's going to pinch. And then check your tire pressure before you go for a ride, because if there's not enough tire pressure in there, even though it's not flat completely, you may finish the ride and it may have slipped on the rim, and then you're headed for disaster. 9, 10, there's 10 pounds. There's 15 pounds. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's pump it up. Takes it 28. There's 30. You like it? Okay. All right. Size of the nut. This is a 15 millimeter pedal wrench. And yes, that's 15 millimeter. It's fat enough it won't bugger it up. And I don't really like this tool for that kind of thing, so. Now, is there a right and a left? More than likely there would be. Really hard to tell the front tire which way would be right or left. Let's put the reflector on the drive side. So that's right, just so that we have a reference point. And then there are these little dubbers here. They're like washers, and there's a flat spot on the axle, so that all lines up to fit in the fork. Bearings seem pretty good. We're not rebuilding the hubs. Spacing on the fork is just perfect. Turning both nuts at the same time. And then this is where that little washer on this side needs to find its home inside the slot of the fork. So we'll get this side in first. There it goes. And see, there's a side to side little bit of play here. So on this right side, making sure the axle is all the way up into the slot of the fork, and just a little bit of snugness there so that side doesn't move. And then I can move the wheel, assuming that that axle, yep, and I can see it is all the way up inside the fork. Now the axle's not moving. And getting that, yep, there it goes right into the slot. And that's just finger tight. And using my fingers as a gap measurement, looks like it's square. So I'm going to put this on the ground to tighten it, but it's not going to fall out. All right. There are nuts and bolts, screw on this side, nut and a bolt on this side for a chain guard, but we don't have a chain guard, so we're just going to leave them there in case one happens along. But we do need the clamp for the brake arm, and usually those go down. I'm going to widen this out. And I can see the mark where it was before. Nut on the inside is the way I do it, and there's a little lock washer built into the nut, so that lock washer goes against the piece of metal here. And then we have, all right, so the reflector's on the brake arm side on this one. And then we have 3 washers on this side and 1 washer on this side. So I'm assuming that the extra washers on the brake arm side are needed for some reason. And a little bit of gunk on here, so use a slot screwdriver. Get the gunk off. pretty good. Okay. So we have free movement. It's not loose. Not worried about the bearings. We want that brake arm in a position for the kickback to work. I'm going to put that in the middle of its position. This is right about there. Don't really know how these three washers are going to fit. We know that this one washer has to be against the nut. We know at least one of these washers has to be against the nut. So then we'll take a look at the frame spacing. And I'm assuming at least, well, we'll see. How's this going to look? Okay. Yeah, there's a gap on this brake arm side, and it looks like a 2-washer gap, and that's exactly right. All right, so there we go. And that brake arm just happened to fall right into position. That's a Bendix hub if you wanted to know. There it goes. Almost. Okay. What tool do we need? Hey, how about needle nose pliers? Normally I would scream with joy that it lined up, but hey, I am a professional. There it goes. Okay, so everything's loose, axle nuts and the brake arm. So it really can't go anywhere, but until we put the chain on, we can't get the tension correct. So let's check that out. And I did not glove up, so I'm gonna have to wash my hands. We have a complete chain. I don't see a master link. There may be one. I do see extra links. So somebody's already sized this. And I guess I should have put the chain on first, because this is going to be harder. And I should glove up because I'm going to get these white walls all greasy, and that's not a good thing. So I'll be right back. And I got some gloves here somewhere. There we go. Oh shoot. That can't, or can it? Without breaking it? No. Well, why would he send you a chain that was already put together? It can't go through the frame unless it's broken. Right? I mean, there's no way to get it through the frame to get that to work. Oh, yippity skippity. Well, no wonder Steven was going to have a hard time putting this together, because that's just not right. But what can you do? Put it together the right way. So I did all that for nothing, because the idea here is going to have to break the chain. So, all right, well, that's going to be another lesson on how to deal with this chain. So let me start a new video.